On this Thanksgiving weekend, David Camm is one thankful man. The former state trooper got out of prison last month after a jury found him not guilty of killing his wife, son, and daughter. 48 Hours correspondent Richard Schlesinger has covered this case since it began more than a decade ago. He spoke to David Camm after the acquittal.
What does freedom feel like?
It's amazing. It's hard not to find me with a smile on my face.
For the first time in 13 years, David Camm is a free man. The last time David Camm played basketball was the night of September 28, 2000, just before he came home from a game in a church gymnasium. He found his wife and 2 children shot dead in the garage.
Get everybody out here to my house now! Okay, all right. My wife and my kids are dead!
Just 3 days later, Camm, the former Indiana state trooper, was charged with 3 counts of murder. But he insists he has an alibi. That basketball game, there were 11 eyewitnesses who saw him.
How sure are you that David Camm was here for the entire 2 hours and change that you were here?
I'm 100% sure because I saw him walking on the side. I saw him sitting down.
Camm has always maintained his innocence, but in 2002, he was convicted and sentenced to 195 years.
It's good to see you, Richard Schlesinger.
Back then, Camm insisted to 48 Hours the key to finding who killed his family was on a gray sweatshirt found at the crime scene that was never introduced at his first trial.
That's the biggest clue in the case. The killer left a calling card there.
Camm was right. A DNA test showed it belonged to a convicted felon, Charles Bonet. By then, Camm's conviction had been overturned, but prosecutors recharged him along with Bonet, and both were convicted of the murders.
He is the person that killed my family. He's a psychopath. He's a liar.
It would take 13 years, multiple appeals, and 1 more trial before David Camm was proved innocent.
The 3rd trial was based upon fact and evidence, and that's what trials are supposed to be about.
His new defense team called new experts. Richard Eichenboom is an expert in touch DNA evidence. So you found Bonet's DNA on all the victims?
Correct.
What does that tell you?
That he was active on this crime scene.
And just last month, David Camm finally heard the words he'd waited 13 years for. Not guilty.
I wailed, I cried, I may have praised God, I thanked the jury over and over and over again.
And Richard Schlesinger is here. Good morning to you, Richard.
Good morning.
We could see in that video you followed this case for a very long time,
You're
a slightly younger Richard.
Talking about my hair, aren't you? Yeah.
What was it like to follow this for 13 years and then see such a reversal of fortune?
It was an incredible privilege, really. I mean, both sides in this case all along have been very open with us and shared with us their passion about this case. And remember, every time this case came to trial 3 times, everything was on the line. David Camm's life was on the line. The prosecutors' careers were on the line. And we got to watch that over, more than a decade. As a reporter, it was an amazing experience. And as a viewer, I think you're going to be on quite a journey.
So this gray sweatshirt, how important was that, and why wasn't it looked into earlier?
Well, first of all, it was critically important because it identified another suspect. And why wasn't it looked into? We deal with that extensively in the hour. That's really the question here. There are allegations of prosecutorial misconduct. We talked to the original prosecutor, who gives an interesting explanation for why it wasn't tested. I'm going to be a little coy here because it sort of helps the story unfold naturally. But that's the real question.
You may have to be coy with this one, too, though, because I'm wondering, is the sweatshirt the turning point in the 3rd trial?
I don't have to be coy about that. The sweatshirt was the turning point in this entire case. When the 3rd trial came along, and you'll see as this story unfolds tomorrow night, there was some new evidence, there was some new experts. The defense came at it in a different way. And most importantly, there was evidence that was improperly admitted in earlier cases that was not allowed to be admitted in this last case. And I think that made a big difference.
Richard, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Fascinating stuff, as always. You can see Richard's full report, Walking Free, on 48 Hours. That is tomorrow night at 10, 9 Central, right here on CBS.